A nightmare surrounds Israeli ground forces from north to south. After more than 700 days of fighting, an old Soviet weapon joins the fight against Israeli Merkava tanks. Although small in size and dating back to the 1960s, it pierced the Merkava's armor and turned it into a molten mass in a matter of moments. A curse has haunted the IDF since the Yom Kippur War and continues to this day, with no way to stop it. So what is the story behind this old weapon, and how did it manage to penetrate the armor of the Merkava, the most heavily armored tank in the world? Many secrets and details we will reveal to you, dear viewer, about the Malyutka missiles in this video. Stay tuned. It is called Malyotka, known to NATO as Saga. It is a first-generation 125mm anti-armor guided missile that operates on the principle of visual control and tracking. It is characterized by its slow speed, and its accuracy depends on the skill of the shooter, who controls the missile via a wire from the moment of launch until it reaches its target. It is lightweight and small in size compared to other first-generation Russian missiles. The Malyutka missile consists of a special case, which also serves as a launch platform. It consists of two parts: a warhead with a hollow charge designed to concentrate the effect of its explosion in a specific direction, and an electric valve. And the second part is specific to the rocket engine body, tail and wire reel, which connects the guide to the missile. The Malyutka missile is 86 centimeters long, with a wingspan of 39.3 centimeters and weighs 11 kilograms, including a 2.6 kilogram warhead. The missile is guided by a small control arm similar to those used in video games. The guiding of this missile requires continuous and focused training by the operator. The guidance commands are sent via 3 copper wires connected to the rear of the missile. Before launch, the case must be placed on solid ground and the missile raised to an angle of 30 degrees to prevent it from colliding with obstacles or the ground. The missile is launched at a speed of 110 meters per second and can reach its maximum range of 4,000 meters in 40 seconds or slightly less. It is capable of penetrating steel armor between 400 millimeters and 800 millimeters thick, depending on the type of warhead. It can penetrate concrete fortifications up to a depth of 100 centimeters. One of the disadvantages of this missile is that it needs to travel a distance of between 500 and 800 meters before it can be directed toward its target. And it is practically unable to engage close targets. To cover this gap, the fighter uses RPG-7 missiles to strike Merkavas from close range, while the Malyutka strikes tanks that are more than 500 meters away. Hunted the Israeli tanks since the 1973 war. Before the October War, military commanders did not attach much importance to anti-armor missiles. Some commanders, including Israelis, even viewed this type of weapon with contempt. And the rule of thumb was that tanks could only be countered by tanks, and that when tanks appeared, infantry soldiers would flee regardless of their weaponry. But what happened in the October 1973 war was the exact opposite, with Israeli tanks fleeing from Egyptian infantry soldiers. And the Israeli commanders ordered their tank crews to keep a safe distance from Egyptian tank crews armed with these missiles. The Western press wrote at the time that Egyptian Malyutka missiles destroyed all Israeli tanks along the Suez Canal, Russian sources say that the Saga missile destroyed 800 of the 1,100 Israeli tanks destroyed during the October War. This resounding success led to the widespread production of anti-tank missiles around the world, the latest of which are the Russian Kornet and French Milan missiles, and the Israeli Spike and American Javelin missiles, which are guided by fire-and-forget technology, meaning that they do not require great skill on the part of the operator, who only has to aim at the target, fire, and then the missile guides itself to its target. What is interesting about Egypt's use of the Sagar anti-tank missile is that it was designed for defensive purposes, but the Egyptian army used it in conjunction with other weapons for offensive purposes and was able to destroy Israeli armored vehicles. This was a sharp, harsh, and surprising change in global military thinking. Operational history. Work on the development of this weapon began in July 1960 at the Kolomna Engineering Design Bureau. It is considered a Western copy of guided anti-armor missiles, such as the French Ontak and the German Cobra. Initial tests of the Malyutka missile were successful on December 1962, and the missile entered service on September 1963. It was the first shoulder-fired anti-tank missile in the Soviet Union, and is probably the most produced anti-tank missile ever, with production peaking in the 1960s and 1970s at more than 25,000 missiles per year. In addition, copies of the missile were manufactured under various names by at least 6 countries. Although replaced by more advanced anti-tank guided missiles, the Malyutka and its derivatives have been widely used in almost every regional conflict since the 1960s, and remain in large quantities in storage, and are sometimes used to this day by armed movements. The Malyutka made its most notable appearance in the Vietnam War in April 1972, when the 20th Tank Regiment of the Army of the Republic of Vietnam was attacked by the Vietnam People's Army, which used Malyutka missiles for the first time and succeeded in destroying 26 M48 Patton tanks and M113 personnel carrier, 12 howitzers, 27 bunkers, and 17 other targets. As mentioned above, the Malyutka missile was used extensively in the 1973 Yom Kippur War by the Egyptian army against Israeli armored vehicles. It was also used extensively by Lebanese Hezbollah forces in the 1990s against Israeli positions and armored vehicles in southern Lebanon. An Iranian-developed variant known as the Ra'ad-T by the Lebanese group in the 2006 Lebanon War, and the missile performed well during the fighting. At the end of the video, dear viewer, why do you think the Israeli Merkava tanks collapsed in the face of the old Soviet Malyutka missile? Let us know in the comments.